Hi, Nate Morris here with the CADP Air University program. I am a student and I was asked what I believe makes a student successful. So you see, I'm not at work. I am here at home in my kitchen and I wanted to make the comparison of what makes a great meal and what makes a great student. They all take ingredients, right? So with that being said, I've got the water boiling, I've got food going. Let's add a few more ingredients, just like we do with our become a successful student. So the first thing I have is note taking. I didn't realize that back when I used to take notes, way back when, that it was such an old style of note taking. The way that the videos described it, the Cornell style of note taking, whether you're using color coded pens, post-its, notebooks, whether you're using sketchbooks, whatever you have to do for different styles of professors and different styles of learning subjects. There's a lot better ways to take notes than the way we used to when we were growing up. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and use this here. This looks like it's about a quarter cup of magic. I'm going to throw it in there and hope I don't burn the house down. All right. The next one I have is communication. Those of us that have been around a while in the workforce, we realize how important communication is. You've got to communicate with your coworkers, with your boss, with your subordinates. You've got to communicate with each other. You've got to communicate with customers. You go home at night, you have to communicate with your kids, you have to communicate with your wife, your spouse, whatever it is. That also applies to when we're doing the student program. We have to communicate with other students in a professional manner. We have to learn how to talk to them. We have to figure out where things are. Where's the testing center? Oh. So we have all these things that are very important. So for communication, I went ahead and grabbed a third cup. We'll fill that in, and again, we hope it won't burn down the house. All right, so far so good. The third thing is learning to learn again. We have to learn how to learn differently. Way back in the 80s, when I was going to school, and we walked to school uphill both ways, we learned differently than the kids do now. And I learn differently than I do now. Some things I pick up much more easily now, and other things I don't understand anything at all. And so for a lot of us, we have to learn how to learn differently, how to pick up certain things out of something, out of a paragraph, out of a video, and be able to pull it out, be able to get it. So with that, I'm going to use this third cup of the magic. I'm going to throw the magic in there. Oh, so far so good. My wife's not going to get mad at me yet. So the fourth thing I got is risk taking. A lot of us are taking very big risks when we are signed up for this program. We had an idea of what was involved, but we didn't know the whole thing. One of the examples I have for risk taking is a personal example for mine. Is this here? This is my football team from this last year. As a head coach, I have been a defensive coordinator and lots of other things for a long time. I've been involved in sports for a long time, but I've never been a head coach for football. I've coached basketball for years, multiple teams, multiple levels for a very long time, but never a head coach of football. I was asked to do it this year. And all I could think about when I was doing it is, what can I possibly give these kids to get them from here to there? What can I do to make them better? That's all that's important, right? So I had to take a big risk. At the end of the season, after everything was said and done, I had a lot of parents come up to me and thank me and say what a successful year they felt like their kid had. We didn't win many games. We got blown out of a lot of games. But almost every single kid and parent came up to me and told me how successful they felt like their kid was because they'd grown so much. That's a huge risk. All of us are taking a huge risk because we don't know what's at the end of this other than a piece of paper. Other than something saying we have an associate's degree. That's all we know. It's a huge risk. So for that, I got some old-fashioned pepper. Everybody likes pepper, right? I'm going to throw a pinch of pepper in here. I have no idea what a pinch is, but my mom used to throw pinches into everything that she cooked. And my mom was magnifique. So we'll throw it in there. Automatically going to be good. The last thing I have is support. I brought a couple things to show what support is for me. This is one of them. You can look at it. This is a shoe. This is a Michael Jordan shoe. This is 13 years old. I bought this. You can see it's not used too much. I bought this when my oldest son, before he was born, because I was so excited to have a boy. Like most fathers are, go crazy, have all their kids and all that stuff. That I went out and bought him shoes before he was even there. That is my support system. Is my kids. Let me introduce you to them. That's my daughter. She's 20. That's my son, he's 12, and my youngest one is 6. Good looking kids, right? That is the the reason why I am in this because of support, their support, because of what it means to me to be able to turn back and say, I did this when I was this age with all this stuff. You can do it now when you're 18, 19, 20 years old. A lot easier. Another thing of support I have is this here. This is my wife's degree. She got a bachelor's in communications last spring at Weber State University. She was working full-time, going to school full-time, being a mom full-time, being a wife full-time. And that one there's not always an easy one, being a wife. She was doing all this, and she still managed to crank out a bachelor's degree in just over 3 years. Now she turned around and decided she's going to go back and she's getting her master's right now. She started going back. If she can do all that stuff, if they can do all this stuff, why can't I do this stuff? That's my support right there, is my family. So with that being said, family, it's kind of like sprinkles, right? So we'll go ahead and throw in some sprinkles in there because everything's better with sprinkles. I don't care what anybody says, everything's better with sprinkles. So we'll go ahead and throw that in there. All right, let it cook up for a minute and see what we get. So, anybody ready to see what kind of food we got here? It's going to be magical. Mix a couple things up here. Do this stuff here. I'll throw some of this on there. All right, here we go. Look at that. Beautiful piece of pizza. Don't ask me how boiling water and all the other stuff does it. That is the amazing thing about Hollywood magic. It doesn't have to make sense. And it's Hawaiian. So if somebody doesn't like Hawaiian pizza, I'm very sorry for that. You must have just a tough life. Anyways, that is all I've got for this. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy my pizza, and I'll talk to you guys later. That's good stuff. That was good.